All right, we are back at our first plot here. We are gonna do the first major prune in over a year. We are gonna take down a lot of this material. We hope to accomplish 3 or 4 things all at the same time here. Number one, we want to get down a lot of this material, which is our biomass producing trees, which have gotten overgrown. We want to get that down on the ground. We also want to make sure that we diminish the amount of leaves that we have out here. We know things are going to go slower, but going into the dry season, we want to make sure that we actually reduce the amount of transpiration so that we can kind of hold some of the moisture in the soil. And then wait for the next rainy season where things are really gonna go again. But we're also trying to get things in their right strata. So we have some trees that are out of strata right now just because we haven't maintained them well enough. So we're gonna do that today. We're gonna, hopefully this will look a lot better and we'll be able to kind of see where everything is, where our strata is, where our possible production over the next year, 2, 5 years is gonna be at the end of this. So we're busy. We got the whole team out here today working on this. We're doing a whole training because this is our first one that we've ever done, so we have a lot to learn. And then we'll come back to you with the results and what it looks like. Well, the team did quick work of this agroforestry area behind me doing this drastic prune. It looks pretty bad right now. It always does after we do one of these prunes, after it being so full and so lush, and then to see it just kind of the bare bones of what's in there. But so important to get this work done. I'm going to show you a little bit about, how it looks when we get in here. So as you can see, we've done tons and tons of pruning here. We've gotten a lot of things down and out, and there's going to be a little suffering here in the short term, especially with the coffee, which is now out in the sun after being in the shade for quite a long time. But this tree right next to it, which is a Cassia, which really needed to come down, gave us a ton of biomass, which you can see here. Look at all this biomass we've been able to put down that's really going to lock the moisture in, which hopefully will help us throughout the dry season. But we know that there's going to be a ton of growth on this in no time, and that's going to be back in the shade again. But it's important to get this flush of light because right next to us here we have this lemon tree, which really needed to have some light because as you can see it's pretty stunted. And then we took down mulberry. There's another Cassia tree, I'm calling them Cassia, they're actually Senna tree here. And then we have this mahogany, which needed to get in the sun to get in its correct strata. We had a Moringa tree that was so tall we were not able to reach the leaves even close, so we brought that down to a more reasonable level. We'll keep that prune better now. Got a beautiful little jackfruit tree in there that's now getting some light. As you can see, we have, we're almost to our 3rd year. Our mango tree is looking pretty good. They'll probably start giving this year. We're gonna start to have some citrus probably, not on this tree, but some of the others will probably give us some citrus this year. Again, knock down some mulberry. Here's another mahogany, jackfruit. Now, here I think we have a great example of some stratification of what we're looking for here. So we have our mahogany tree, which is emergent up there. That one we want on top. Here we have this is a lychee tree, which is going to be mid to mid-high level. But right in the middle of the lychee tree, we actually have tucked in here a beautiful coffee, which is looking really good. That's going to be able to stay underneath the lychee tree. And then over here, we actually have a citrus, which is another mid to low level. We'll keep these pruned quite a bit. So all these trees can live very happily right next to each other. And we get, not only do we have mahogany for the future, we're going to have lychees here starting probably a year or 2. Coffee we'll get starting next year. Citrus probably next year. And they'll be able to produce simultaneously for hopefully years to come. So there we go. We've uncovered some of our, this is another pod mahogany, which needed some sun to grow. Another jackfruit here, which is needed, again, to get a little bit above this mango tree because the jackfruit should be on top of the mango tree. In our interrow, we've knocked back this cassava quite a lot, which is basically just here for shade for our coffee, which the coffee is looking pretty good. The coffee, again, will suffer a little bit, but we know that these cassava are going to recover very quickly. And we needed to take them down because they were getting so tall that they weren't actually going to be providing much shade anyway. And again, look at this row here. We've got eucalyptus, mahogany. We have some, citrus over there. some Gliricidia Sepium left in there. But again, look at tons of biomass. Coffee tree tucked in there underneath this pod mahogany, right next to a big, not a big yet, but gonna be big jackfruit tree. Again, with another mahogany, and then underneath the mahogany, we have some beautiful Eureka Lemon. Everything in its place. Again, it's looking pretty sparse at the moment, but we know that it's gonna recover so quickly. These biomass producing trees, the Senna, the Gliricidia Sepium, this Mulberry, they're gonna be giving us a bunch more biomass here in no time. And then also, we have these pineapples in here, which need a bit of a cleanup yet. As you can see, we knocked down the Cassava here, giving it a flush of light because it's time for it to set fruit. So we need to give it a little flush of light here. Look, they're looking pretty healthy. They're a bit covered up, but they're nice and green. They've been in the shade, so they're not actually producing anything right now, but it's kind of our second season for pineapple. We're hoping to get a flush of light, maybe get some flowers set here and get some pineapples yet in the next couple months. And then our last row, much of the same. A lot of biomass producing trees taken down. We've pruned up our mahoganies. We've got some beautiful citrus here that, look, we need to shape these trees again, but they'll be looking ready to produce here. Next year, we got our one sad little papaya tree over there. But like I said, looks like we've really abused the system, but we know it's going to recover quickly. We know that that biomass we put down, that we were able to put down, is going to be a huge help. And not only that, but the quantity of firewood that we took out of here is really impressive. So we don't have a chipper to chip up the bigger pieces, but we had several 3, 4, 5 inch diameter pieces of firewood we were able to get out of here, which is a huge advantage in this area where people have to walk so far to get firewood each and every day. So it's another tick box on our agroforestry test. So there you go. That was our first drastic prune, about 3 years into this system. We'll do the next one in about 6 months, and I'm sure we'll do a video then too. Hope you enjoyed.